Yeah, the stage is yours, Tina.
Thank you so much. I'll continue where Kasper left. I took over from Kasper when he moved on to new adventures and tell you a bit about how we went from making the strategy, making all the plans, and then executing on them. I started in August 24, and we had done the pilot from April, and we had to do the full launch 1st of September. So I had a few weeks to prepare, and then we started the full launch of the app. And I'll tell you a bit about how we worked with that. As Jonas also mentioned, Rejsekort and Rejseplan, we are the sector-shared company working on journey planning and all ticketing and travel information. Putting together all the transport authorities, operators, and tariff organization, and trying to agree on the national ways of handling that. And our point of departure was, as also Kasper mentioned, the new law in 2019. We wanted to reduce costs with going mobile. We wanted to also meet a customer request. 2/3 of the customers wanted the solutions to be digital. And we also wanted to replace all the local regional apps, prepaid apps, with one app shared for the entire country. That was also coming from risk to reduce costs, but also to reduce complexity for the user, so that they didn't have that many choices when trying to get a ticket for public transportation. Our strategy was that we wanted to go from the card-based solution into a mobile first, but also, very importantly, not a mobile only. So we knew that there would be users that didn't want to use the mobile solutions, and we needed to make sure, as critical infrastructure, we needed to make sure that those were accommodated as well. So therefore it was mobile first, but also that we needed to do an alternative. And a little background on that, and some of you also asked me during lunch how we were able to have the mobile first. And I think a big part of it is that in Denmark, over the last many years, all public interaction and communication has been digitalized. So if you want to talk to your doctor, if you have to correspondence with the local government, everything is digitalized. So it's your driver's license, it's your health card. And as you can see, 97% of the Danish populations over the age of 15, they have a digital ID, the MyID, and they need that in order to interact with all public or governmental bodies. And only 5% of the grown population are exempted from digital mail. So all correspondence is sent in digital ways, and then the remaining 5%, they get an actual paper from the government. So that was a big part of the foundation, and also those numbers was the reason for our 90-10 strategy. So our hope was that 90% of all users would travel with digital solution, and the remaining 10 would travel with the non-digital solution, as we called it in the beginning, or the alternative to the digital solution. And we extracted the 10% from these approximately 5% that were accepted from digital mail. And that was only for the adults, so that was 15 and above. And we knew that there would also be a target group for children that didn't have a smartphone yet, so those should be included as well. Kasper had a similar slide, but the target is the same. So this should be the future of the product landscape of the ticketing and the journey planning. So on this side is all the digital solution. We have Rejseplan, which is the journey planning. That will also be our mobility as a service app. So this should be the place where the user starts their journey by planning their journey, and then it's linked into the ticketing apps coming in next phases. And then there will be the two main digital apps, Rejsebillet, which is prepaid and commuting, and then Rejsekort as an app, which is the swipe in, swipe out system. And then on the other side of the dotted line is the alternatives. So if you don't want to travel with an app, there is the Basis card that you can use. And then we've also developed an onboard ticket sales in buses where you can get a bus. And the back end on that is the same as the Rejsebillet app. So similar to the Basis card is the same back end and software as the Rejsekort as an app. Then it's the same for the bus tickets that we are selling. A little on the process, as Kasper also mentioned, we wanted to go standard, we wanted to go modular. We also had the MVP approach, so build a highway first, starting with the big user groups, do the pilot, then launch in phases with the full national rollout in September 24, but only for adults, and then we added new features as time went along. And then we started with the digital solution. That's the 90% of the users, get them on the digital solution. Then we launched the Basis card, the alternative. We did that in January this year. And parallel to all these digital solutions, we wanted to phase out the old system, and has been working on phasing out the system. And I will show you in a later slide where we could see every time we communicated that now we will close down the old system in the new year, then we got a peak in the number of users in the app. So those two really correspond well. And then in the next phase, we will add a credit card on the physical or the Basis card solution, that you are able to use a credit card, and then continue to work on the mobility as an app or as a service app, which will be our journey planner. So that's the next part of our plan. So what do the users say on the app? We do a quarterly measurement of the users. How do they accept the new solutions? How do they understand the communication that we do on phasing out the system? And these numbers are very on a same level every time we ask them. So 90% of the users are happy with the app. They believe it makes it easier to travel using public transportation. They also rate it very user-friendly, and 81% has a high confidence in its functions. And parallel to the launch of the app, the data authorities in Denmark started an investigation on how do we use location sharing and data and so on. So a lot of the media and the press attention was actually on was it secure enough? Could they trust its functions? Could they trust how we use the data? So even though the 81 compared to the 90% perhaps doesn't seem that high, and we were very pleased that they still have, most of the users have very high confidence in the app, despite of all these press attention to how the data is used. I was a bit looking forward to see how you could see these numbers on a big slide, but I'll try to interpret them for you. So this one over here is how many registrations are in the app. And it's already old news because we are over 3 million since I made the slides and sent it. So we have more than 3 million registrations. And maybe for some of you, 3 million doesn't seem that as a high number, but that's almost all customers in Denmark. So I think we have around 300,000 left who still travels on the old system, card-based system. So we are already almost on 90%. And we haven't closed down the old system yet. It's coming very soon. And we expect that some of the current travelers on the old system will continue on the app or will go to the app. So not all of them will go to the alternative Basis card. So looking at those numbers, we actually hope that we will be better than the 90-10 share. And this one over here, the gray one is the journeys with the old system, and the blue one is with the app. As you can see, I think it's around 75% now of all journeys that are done through the app. We haven't included the basis card or the alternative numbers yet because they are so small. We started in January, so they are so small compared to this that they wouldn't be visible on the slide yet. But as you can see over here, it's the months going down. So the first month, that's the pilot. Then the first big peak is the national launch. And then the next peak is in the fall, where we started communicating that we will close down the old system. That gave a lot of new users into the app. Then I'll just go a little in detail with the alternative or with the basis card solution, which the validator is from ProData, and then Fairtech does all the software and all the backend on it. And the user group or the targeted user group for the basis card or the alternative is for everyone that doesn't have a smartphone. When the project started, the atmosphere in Denmark around children and smartphones were a bit different than it is now. So at that time, I think the average age for a child getting their first smartphone was around 8. And that was commonly accepted that you have to have a smartphone. Since then, it's changed a bit. So with new legislation and new dialogue and so on in the community, I think that people want to postpone that age a bit. I think in the beginning we underestimated the importance of children as a target group for a non-digital solution, so that we could tap into the communication and dialogue around. There is a possibility for the children to travel with public transportation without giving them a smartphone. So that's a very important user group for the alternative. Then there's also a lot of user groups that, not a lot, there's some uncomfortable using a smartphone during traveling. Also users with special needs. And then the last groups are people that prefer to travel anonymously. So use cash or don't have any data sharing or data location or location sharing. They want to be completely anonymous. And by law, we need to cater to them as well. What we have done from the very early stages, also in developing the app and launching the app, is to have a very close collaboration with the users, especially those with special needs, so that we try to accommodate their needs in the app instead of pushing all of them into the alternative. So we said from the beginning that we don't want anyone left behind. So we are critical infrastructure. We need to make sure everyone can travel. Therefore, we will develop an alternative. From the beginning, we didn't quite know what that alternative would be, but it was clear that we needed to do some kind of alternative. And then we started ongoing user involvement, and I've listed all the names here, but it is, we made a forum where we meet every quarter with these user organizations, get input from them on our plans, on our strategy, on our communication. We also use them for user testing. One very specific example is on the sounds and the colors and the text and so on the solutions. How is it best for their users, their user groups? We also now use them a lot for input on communication. How do we reach all the elderly and tell them the system will close down? How do we help you? So we, for instance, train all their IT volunteers that help elderly getting onto digital solution. We give them training, and this is how you can help them use the app, because many of them actually prefer to use the app and the digital solution, but just need help getting started. I think we mentioned as well, it's a check-in, check-out system. We will have two different cards. There will be a personal card, so we know who you are, and it's assigned to you, and it will be linked to your credit card. And then you can have an anonymous card where you need to do a cash refill in a sales office. And then, at a later stage, after the full launch, we will add payment cards as a means to the system as well. It's been very important for us from the beginning that we had a parallel operation between the old system and the new system, giving all the users time to move into the new, but also anticipating that a lot of them won't move before we are at the end of the timing. So we did the launch of the app and continuous feature releases. We did the same with the basis card, and then the red bar shows that in all of this period we have the parallel operation of the current system. And I don't know, perhaps some of you are similar to me, even though I perceive myself as very digital. When I get a prompt from my laptop that I need to change my password, and I have the next 2 weeks to do it, and I'm thinking, thank you for that, I will make sure to do it in due time. But somehow, every time I still end up when the 2 weeks has passed, and I'm on my way to a very important meeting, and then it says now that 2 weeks has passed, now we have to change the password or do the update or whatever it is, right now. We know that a lot of the users, even though they are digital prone, some of them will be at the final day, even though we communicated heavily that the system will close down, they will still be there in the morning saying, damn it, I didn't get to download the app. One of the design criteria, and Kasper and I talked about it on the way here, is that you need to download and start working using the app within 60 seconds. That was the goal. So even though the train is coming in or you can see the bus, then you have 60 seconds to get started. So that's what we're preparing to help the final users. Just a small, this is my last slide, a small note on the phase out. So it was from our board, from our owners, from the ministry, a very important part of the business case for the new solutions that we would close down summer 26. So that has been a deadline in everyone's attention. Summer 26, the old system will close or the entire business case will collapse. So that's been the end goal that we have been working against, making sure that we were able to do that. We are able to do it. So we are 1 month away from the first close down. We still need some features on the last user groups on the alternative, but otherwise we are ready to close down. And what we will do is we will do an automatic payout. So if you have a Rejsekort today, you have an e-wallet and you have a balance on your card, and we will automatically close down the card and send you back the remaining amount that you have on the personal card. And if you have an anonymous card, then we have developed a web solution where you can request that you will get the remaining balance paid out to your bank account. Or you need to go to a sales office to have them assist you. But we hope that and think that a lot of these users won't go to a sales office. It would be nice for them to be assisted digitally. And then because we terminate completely the contract with the current vendor, we needed to transfer all the data from the current system into a data warehouse. So for bookkeeping and legislation and so on, also customer, if they call customer service and so on, we need to be able to help them. And since the business case stated that we needed to terminate the contract completely to get all the savings, then we couldn't have access to all these systems and data. So we had to work on transferring all that data into a data warehouse as part of the phase out. So that's a lot of attention at the moment is also going to this phase out, make sure that this runs smoothly. Yeah, that's what I had prepared.